What's the word, world? It's your man Dawgface Calderon, aka the most dangerous voice everywhere. And I just jumped off the porch with Dirty Glove Bastard. Pow!
One of the big comments, or the most talked about comments I see on the situation is, he should not be the only black friend in the friend group. Do you agree with that?
So, let me just say this. So I moved my children from metropolitan Detroit to rural Atlanta. I stay an hour away from Atlanta, right? There's like 6, 7 cities between where I live in Atlanta, right? The community I live in, if you Google it, it is one of the most affluent communities north of Atlanta and still be in the state of Georgia, right? The community is 99% white. We don't even have Indians. The Indians like the Bangladesh, we don't even have Indians, right? We don't even have Hispanics. It's white people and black people who all have money. I just completed my new home. My new home is even more secluded and in an even more predominantly white situation. It might be 100% white, right? But I have more land and it's more creature comforts and everything is just the way I planned it. I bought the last house. This house we built from the ground up exactly the way we wanted it, right? So my children, like for example, my kids go to school with Lil Baby's son, the rapper Lil Baby. Mm-hmm. Lil Baby his son goes to school with my kids, right? And there have been issues, not as much as I thought it was gonna be, because there's Trump country up there, but I haven't had the experiences that I thought I was gonna have. I thought I was gonna have to fuck some white people up. But we've had issues that we had to correct and get some understanding about, but it hasn't been based on how white the community is. It's been nowhere near what we anticipated it would be. Up there where I live at, it's all about, do you got some money? You know what I'm saying? And we know there's always racism involved with that shit, because it ain't just about the money. But I definitely talk to my kids about their white friends. I definitely have conversations with my children about, I just had a conversation with them this morning about Nolan Wells, Carmelo Anthony. We talked about Nolan Wells in particular, about the whole stand your ground thing. I mean, not Nolan Wells, but Carmelo Anthony, about what happened with them. So I think that black people, I'll answer your question this way. Black people, you have white people in America who are trying to beat black people about their head because they're pointing out racist shit going on. And so now there's something called black fatigue. Black fatigue, when white people use it, it is white people are sick and tired of black people pointing out the shit that we think that they're doing wrong to us based on race. And my thing is this, and what people don't know is the term black fatigue, white people have commandeered that term, and so now they look at that shit as white people being upset with black people about constantly using the race card to point out racial injustice or whatever the case may be. The term black fatigue was coined by a black person. It was invented by a black woman. And what black fatigue really means is, hey, black people, we are tired of having to point out to you the obvious racial component and the obvious racial undertones of the shit y'all doing. That's what black fatigue is really about. We're tired. How in the fucking white people we tired? You're tired about us complaining about what the fuck y'all have been doing to us. That's the craziest shit in the world. So I teach my kids about race in America. And I tell my kids to be, ain't no drowning in my motherfucking kids. All my girls are lifeguards. Ain't no drowning. They can swim to here in Alaska. We don't play that shit, right? But in all honesty, I'm going to tell you what I do. And what I do with my children is something that I suggest that all black people do, especially black people of means and of substance and who have financial security. You have to always teach your kids that there is always the possibility of jealousy, envy, and groupthink when it comes to white people. Because it's not even it might not even about the kids. Listen, kids learn racism from their parents and grandparents, right? So it might not, those children who my kids go to school with right now, they might not, but you can never be too safe and too sure. You have to teach your kids about race. You have to teach them about matters of you have to teach them about the reality and the country that we live in. It ain't just about teaching your kids about drugs. Don't use drugs, don't drink alcohol, don't do this, don't do that. Be mindful of social media, be mindful of TikTok, be mindful of predators. But you also have to teach your kids, your black kids, to be mindful about matters of race and racial disharmony. Because this country is at a fever pitch when it comes to racial disharmony, right? You got motherfuckers who are trying to stoke the flames of racial hatred and racial divide, hoping to get something that looks like a fucking race war. There's money in that. You have motherfuckers who are doing everything in their power to create situations where black people and white people explode. And then the black people and white people who explode, it ain't gonna be the rich white people. It's gonna be the broke, fucked up white people who mad, angry, and upset because they haven't been able to achieve their piece of the American pie, and they're blaming everybody from immigrants to niggas as to why they haven't been able to obtain their white picket fence and house and college degrees and shit like that. So when it comes to racial disharmony, it is people at the top levels trying to stoke the flames of people who we all hate white people. The majority of white people ain't rich, right? Hey, white people who don't like black people. Newsflash, you have black people who don't like black people. Do you see everything happening in the black communities? Does that look like that we all on the same page? The death, the destruction, the drugs, the pimping, the hoeing, how we talk about each other, how we talk about ourselves, the music we create, the music that we listen to. We spinning that shit. We got kids dancing and spinning and scamming. Hey, listen, white people who don't like black people, the line that you need to stand in is way back there, right? Because you're gonna get behind us now because black people are the biggest killers of black people in this country. So if you don't like black people, hey, it's kind of like when you get in line, man. Get in line because we don't like ourselves. Your dislike for us doesn't trump our own issues with trying to destroy each other. Get in line, motherfucker.
No, well said, because it was just weird reading the comments. People were basically blaming Nolan's parents for even letting him go out there with his so-called friends.
I can see that, though. I can see, it's not just the act of letting him go out there. It is like, we are under the impression that you're not teaching your black sons and your black daughters that this thing is possible because you think you're above that because financially you're in the upper talented 10th, you're in the upper 5 percentile of, right, you have means, you have money. Hey, listen, racism and people who don't like black people, they don't give a fuck how much money you got. You a nigga to them. White people who don't like black, and I ain't talking just white, because you have Mexicans, you have Indians, you have Asians who have the same attitude that the most racist white, listen, I would rather have white friends than have Hispanic friends right now. I would rather have, I'm talking about the new migrants that come over here, right? The new migrants from India to Arab to Asians, because they already have preconceived notions about what black people are, who we are, and what we do, right? I would rather have white friends than have Asian friends right now, right? Because even though we examine the history between the tension and the turmoil between white and black people, bro, you got Asians, you got migrants coming over here now, they don't give a fuck about white or black. They don't give a fuck about none of this shit, right? So I'm suspicious of everybody right now, and I think that his parents, I don't know what they taught him in their home, right? So I don't want to presuppose that. I don't want to put that on them because they already have enough on them. I ain't gonna do the Charleston White and try to criticize them because I don't know what they taught, or what they told their son. But black people all over, the world over, in this country, black people in this country, racism is not dead. It doesn't matter how much money you got. It doesn't matter what kind of job you have. It doesn't matter, none of that shit matters. You have people who don't like you. They don't give a fuck if you're a Baptist, a Muslim, Episcopalian, Seventh-day Adventist, Jehovah's Witness. They don't give a fuck if you, none of that shit. You still a Hebrew Israelite, listen, people who don't like you, they don't give a fuck what you call yourself. In their eyes and in their heart and in their thinking, you still a nigga and they still feel like they're superior to you and they don't have to respect nothing about you or your life. Your life doesn't mean anything to them.